Now, something that's very important on your private small parcel, and you can even apply this to public land a little bit, is taking a census of your buck herd and your deer herd in general during October and November. Really, if it's at any other time of the year, it's not going to be helpful to you. I know there's a lot of scientific models out there where you're taking a survey in August and September, but really that's your pivot point of if you're going to be doing a great job or you're doing a poor job. August and September is great for a huge property in Georgia, a giant ranch down in Texas where you have a captive herd, not necessarily a fenced herd, but one that stays on a particular property, 90% of them for the entire year. Then you can compare August, September to August, September, and you can get some good numbers, and you know that's your huntable herd too. But when you're looking at 1,000 acres or less, and especially 500 acres or less, what you have in August and September means nothing for what you can actually promote, what you can practice QDM principles on, what you can hunt, what you can advance to the next age class, what you can protect, promote. What you have in October and November is vital to your success. We're in a location right now, small food plot, hidden in a lot of cover on this property. We have 3 main properties we like to hunt, and this is one of my key locations on this property. We'll get about 80% of the bucks, 90% of the bucks that we get on all the cameras will come on this little intersection right here. It'll go in and out of this food plot, or they're going to hit this mock scrape right over here that we can get pictures and video of. Very important location, because what we get in October, November again lets us know from one year to the next how we're doing, if we're increasing our buck numbers, if we're increasing our age, and of course it lets us know what bucks are in the area. Had a great card pull last night from the other property. It's more of a central location on that property, and on that one in particular we've been working hard on for several years, and that card pull last night told me a lot about how we're doing, and I was really encouraged. That was one of my best, if not the best, card pull I've ever had, going back to my 36 exposure 35 millimeter cameras back in the late 90s. We had roughly 30 different antlered bucks, and we might even be able to stretch that to 35 if I really piece them out, within that time frame of about October 12th to November 20th. That's that time frame you want to know what's going on. And on that card pull, 30 bucks right around there. Something that's very interesting, the mature bucks we're after that are in that 4 and 5 year old class, and then a portion of the 3 year olds too. Every 3 year old, 4 year old, and 5 year old that we know about within a quarter mile to a half mile of that property was on that camera, in that location, on that mock scrape. We have one mock scrape in the middle of that large food plot system, and every buck in the area goes to that mock scrape. We feel that we don't have any that miss it. Now, there might be 1 or 2 here or there, but we get a high percentage of them. So we're collecting a lot of buck footage. We're being able to analyze that, compare it from year to year. We had a jump in age class this year as far as the number of 4-year-olds, number of 3-year-olds, and then certainly 2-year-olds. Really looking good. Something else that we use to analyze from that picture and from that snapshot in that window of 5 or 6 weeks is that the majority of those bucks and those mature bucks, I would estimate that 90% actually walked by that camera during daylight at some point, and there were a lot of those deer that were actually in and around daylight. I would say 90% of those bucks. And so if you're looking at your cameras and you're seeing that you capture that buck census for that period, sometime in October through November, I like about a 4-week period, then you're going to find that 80-90% should be very consistent if you're of deer that are in and around close to daylight, and I'm talking about within a half hour, not 2 hours after dark. But if you can find that you're hitting that 80-90% number that are hitting on your property and they're not considered nocturnal bucks, then you're doing good with your, not only your habitat and your cover and making sure that deer are close to those locations, but you're doing great with your hunting approach, because by the time you get into November, and we're looking at November 21st today, if the bulk of your deer herd is nocturnal, that tells you a lot about your hunting approach, and things need to be changed. Habitat might have to be changed, habitat might have to be moved so that you can get in and out of the property without spooking them, but you have to have that setting where those deer feel comfortable coming into these locations and getting their picture taken without you spooking them, and without coming in the bulk after dark. Another real important thing is a lot of the census models where you're taking a survey of your deer involves putting bait out, putting corn out. Folks, I'm telling you, as a seasoned Michigan hunter, hunted over 30 years in Michigan. Those mature bucks do not come in regularly to bait, neither to the mature does and fawns. They'll come in at some point, especially if they're cruising, following a doe or something. You're going to get a very high percentage of your young bucks and a very low percentage of roe bucks. Again, that's great in Texas. It's great in Georgia. It's great in huge leases, thousands of acres. Put corn piles out, captive herd, fenced properties, whatever it might work. But when we're talking small properties, which the bulk of us have, my properties are all right around 40 acres, the 3 that I hunt here in southwest Wisconsin. They're not going to come into corn. It's not legal here in this location anyways. A salt block, that's great in August and September. If you're doing a great job, your number should be increasing from August and September and going into October, November, December. If you're doing a poor job, you might see that the most deer that you have are in August and September. Again, that is not a time where you can influence a herd and of course hunt the herd. And to me, it's all about management, improving the health of the herd. And I want to hunt these deer too. So you have to get a snapshot of what's going on in October and November. We're using this camera in this location to capture 80-90%. We have the other location that's, I feel, getting about 90 to 100% of the bucks in that location. And either way, mock scrapes work. This entrance exit to the food plot, mock scrape over there. We're using that combination to pinpoint exactly how many bucks we have and compare it from year to year, and we can make actual educated harvest decisions and management decisions based on an accurate census of what's taking place in October and November.